There seems to be an awful lot of sad stories in the news today, and there are thousands missing. Does anybody care? We built a channel where we talk about those faces. Talking News with Debbie. Cassie Barnes has still not been found, and it's been 2 years since her case first hit the spotlight. Breaking. Chattanooga and Middle Valley both behind bars. Sarah Galloway was found. She wasn't found alive. What happened to Sarah Galloway?
It's too heartbreaking to share.
Children are still missing. Children like Dorsey. You're in shame. You just got away with it. Welcome to Talking News. Hello everyone. My name is Debbie. We use big stories to push little faces.
Hello everyone, welcome to Chasing a Murderer Talking News. We're doing a Talking News segment where we talk about what we're seeing in news articles and on media. Just recently we learned about Heidi Planck, a Los Angeles mother of one who just disappeared after going to her son's football game. That was on October 17th of this year. At the time that I covered that story, the only video footage that we had was this video footage of her walking out of her house. Heidi is heading to her son's football game in Palm on Sunday afternoon. She walks out the front door, and by her side is her best friend, Seven, her doodle mix dog. The only thing she really has with her is a beverage in her hand. But what is it? And it appears to be a little purse hanging off her shoulder, and possibly a sweater that's wrapped around her waist. In this video, Heidi appears to be calm, doesn't seem to be distressed in any way. She gets into her car and leaves. We know, for right now anyways, that she drives to her son's football game. Did she do anything before? We don't know. According to her ex-husband Jim, who she's supposed to have 50-50 custody with their son, and they seem to maintain a decent relationship. He said that she seemed a little bit antsy and was jumping from bench to bench. She leaves her son's football game early. Jim Wayne said that his son Bond said his mom answered text. In fact, Bond had texted and called his mom and got no response that night. October 18th, the next morning, it's Monday of 2021, Jim Wayne said he actually tries to text her and gets no response. He wants to know why Bond's mom is not answering his texts. According to Jim Wayne, this is odd behavior for her because she doesn't not communicate with her son. Now remember, they do have 50-50 custody. They share custody of their son. And on October 20th, though Jim said he could not get a hold of her by phone, he assumed that she would be at the school to pick up their son, Bond. But Bond's mom, Heidi, never shows up. And this was a red flag for certain. Jim Wayne says he and his son become even more worried at this point. And so they go to the police station immediately after picking him up from school. Some documents say that at that point, Jim filed a missing persons report or to perform a welfare check. They contact the landlord, and the police officer goes through her house with a body camera, but there's no sign of her. Something odd shows up though. In her apartment there is a computer, her phone, and some say a purse. At that point, Jim says he also tries to communicate Heidi's boyfriend, Naeem Saleen, who works for Facebook, one of the leaders over the initiative charity run by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. According to Jim, Heidi and her boyfriend had actually gotten an argument earlier that week. She wanted him to come down and visit her, but he couldn't because of work. I have more details on this on previous videos. Jim Wayne is quick and very open with the media at the beginning of this case, but later on he files for full custody of his son and kind of shuts down after that. Jim says that he actually tries to locate his wife several times. He tries to use her vehicle VIN number, which belongs to her Range Rover, in order, well, it's an attempt to try to locate it by GPS. But they find out that it's either not on or not set up, so that doesn't help. Then he states that he calls hospitals. He even searched obituaries in order to locate his wife. He's even used apps, just trying his best to locate where his child's mother is, because his son's not handling this very well. One of them being the Find My Phone, which he has on her iPhone and Apple Watch. But this feature was disabled as well. Jim says he was able to retrieve her business phone from home, which was on October 20th of 2021. But all of those calls get routed to a personal phone as well. Neither her boss or her boss's wife, her friends, her boyfriend, her landlord, her son have heard from her since October 17th of 2021. Heidi's son is not taking things well. He is beside himself and uncontrollably crying, worried, desperate to find his mother. He's even seen talking to the media about how desperate he is to find his mom and how she hasn't answered his text. The reason for Jim Wayne seeking full custody of Bond is because right now Jim's kind of expecting the worst. And he needed to do this in order to get his son enrolled into therapy immediately, because his son is not doing well. And one of his worst fears is his son finding out that Heidi has been kidnapped or died. And Jim just feels if he hears something like this, the child will get extremely distressed, inconsolable beyond the current mental state he's in at this time. So you can see that Jim is explaining why he needs to seek full custody for his son. Of course, a lot of people are probably giving him a hard time. They will jump the gun before getting all the facts. But you can believe that this investigation, Jim Wayne isn't in the clear quite yet. Because in most cases like this, the boyfriend and the ex-boyfriend are going to be the prime person of interest, or they're going to look into anyways. Jim is not alone in this effort of trying to find Heidi. In fact, her friends are deeply concerned about her whereabouts and what exactly happened. Through friends and family, there have been vigils and memorials held in her honor. There's a new video that has come to surface, and her friends are looking over it with a fine-tooth comb. But Jim Wayne is not the only person that people have looked toward to find answers for Heidi's whereabouts. Heidi's boss, Jason Sugarman, he is under investigation as we speak by the SEC. And one of his employees or partners are behind bars for a multi-million-dollar scam. In fact, when Heidi went missing, Jim Wayne got a call from the SEC. They were asking him questions about what he knew about Heidi's boss. And when Jim talked to Heidi's boss, he said his boss didn't seem very concerned about Heidi's whereabouts. Instead, he seemed more concerned about the computer that was in her apartment. Just days before this, Heidi's boss, Jason Sugarman, was actually seen stopping by her house, knocking or ringing the doorbell, then leaving what appeared to be muffins at her door. And again, guys, I have a lot more details on Jason Sugarman. You can watch on my previous videos. So Heidi has a lot of people surrounding her that could be a possible motive. You got the ex-husband. You got the boyfriend. They just had an argument. You have the boss, who is kind of being looked at for, I guess you call it money laundering. And according to Jim Wayne, he says that if anybody knew bones about the company, most likely it would be his ex-wife, Heidi, because she was their bookkeeper. So let's talk about the last time Heidi was seen. So she's at her son's football game. She seems antsy. She doesn't have her phone with her, and she's kind of jumping bench to bench. But she has her dog with her, which if you were in a hurry and you needed to do something really important, would you bring your dog? Well, we don't know Heidi, so maybe perhaps she does. But we know that she does have 7 with her. She leaves the game at halftime, mind you. New security footage had just come out. Sorry guys for that background noise. Yeah, there was one of our neighbors actually was beating a dog. I was not happy about that. But anyways, so new security footage comes out and it shows Heidi walking in downtown LA. And this building that she's walking by and where her dog was found on the 28th floor is called the Hope and Flower Building. Just give you a quick background on this place. So it's a pretty expensive place, I think, for a 2-bedroom, only 1,000 square feet for $5,571 a month. Something you want to take a note of is you have to have a key card to get inside this building and to go up and down the elevators. That's what we're being told at this time. As you know, breaking news isn't always 100% accurate. It takes time to finally get everything in order. But doing my best in between everything else I research, because I do research girls that are not even on our channel yet. So this is a little bit of an uppity area, and we learn that so the alleyway that she was walking was around 11th and 12th Street is what we're being told at this time. And also the surveillance actually picks Heidi up walking in this alley 30 minutes before her dog's found. So that's pretty quick. So if a wandering dog was wandering alone, would it be able to get into a building and make its way up to the 28th floor in 30 minutes? I think not. So I feel like this building is key. So one thing I did notice is they found a dog on the 28th floor. There are rooftops here with dog playgrounds. There are several pools. There are several just openings on top of this building. And you would have to think that the 28th floor is pretty close to the roof. I don't know how many floors are in this apartment building. So it makes you wonder, either someone snatched her in the alleyway and then took her dog, or perhaps Heidi made it inside this building and perhaps something happened to her in there. Could it be an accident? Could it be foul play? Well, we don't know. So I speculated what could happen to Heidi with just a little bit of information that I have, because I've really not had time to look at this. One thing, I hope the police have pulled a search warrant for that building, because the rooftops are definitely of interest. Also, could she be held hostage in an apartment? Could she have gotten ill and been by herself, maybe watching a friend's apartment? The thing is, it's the dog that we're worried about. If she had something happen to her inside her apartment, well, the dog most likely wouldn't be able to get out without help. So again, we have this dog wandering on the 28th floor. Was it originally there? How did it get there? Maybe she made it to one of the floors, something, she got pulled in, possibly kidnapped, and they don't have time to mess with the dog during that time. The dog gets left behind. They plan to come back and get it maybe, and somehow someone found the dog but didn't see Heidi and had the dog for a week. You would think if someone was going to do something to someone, they would definitely not leave any trace evidence behind or leave breadcrumbs. Were they going to come back and get the dog? So I think surveillance camera is going to be key. Possibly somebody might have come back looking for that dog. But back to the facts, guys. We know, police probably know a little bit more, but they're not sharing that. But the fact that they shared this security cam, they're hoping that some of the public might know a little bit more that will help them piece together something and make it more solid. Regardless of you know, everything. It's just my heart's broken for seeing so many children suffer because their parents are just disappearing or something bad's happening to them. Okay, so let's go over this little clip where she's walking in the alleyway. According to friends, this is 30 minutes before 7. Her dog is found on the 28th floor.
I feel like we're down to figuring out what happened in, between 6:30 and 7 p.m. We have about a 30-minute time span between when that video was shot and the time her dog was found. And 30 minutes is a small window, so I feel...
So it's only a few hours after she's left her son's game at halftime. Here she appears to have on a different shirt. It appears so. Her dog 7 is with her. And 30 minutes from now, the dog will be solo on the 28th floor. So what's interesting also is her car wasn't found. As far as I know right now when I'm making this video, because things can happen while you're working, her car is still not been found. So something doesn't feel right with this case at all. I want to ask you guys to share this video, share her story, share her face. Thank you so much, guys, for checking out these stories and caring. Don't forget to subscribe and like right now to help the channel out. It really is important. And leave a comment. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks so much, guys. See you soon.